Hello, everybody. So, first of all, let's give another big round of applause for our previous speaker, Jessica. So, before we start off, I would like everyone to follow along a simple visualization exercise with me. Is everybody on board? Okay. Now, I want you to close your eyes and imagine back a time when you felt grateful for something. It could be something that happened in the past, something in the last week, or even something this morning. Now I want you to picture that person or thing up close in your mind and examine any emotions that may arise. You can open your eyes now. How did that make everybody feel? Awesome, right? See, my point is, as humans, we always have something to be grateful for. In fact, gratefulness can be expressed even in the smallest of things, such as simply living in the present. That is why today I want to share with you my life, a story of how I overcame all the hardships and challenges in life to become the person I've always aspired to be. And it started with the smallest acts of gratitude that taught me lessons about myself, others, and how it influenced my passion later on. My first story is about overcoming my fears. Growing up, I wasn't always the most social person and was very shy to talk to anyone. Day by day, my confidence levels dropped, and the fear of missing out turned me into a different person, one that would frequently make silly jokes in class to gain the attention from my teachers and peers. And I also had another struggle, public speaking. That was my worst fear. I remembered myself doing tons of research on stage fright, how it is our body's natural response to threat by putting us into a state of high arousal. It causes our muscles to tense, increasing our heart rate and constricting our vocal cords. What has become a useful strategy for cavemen back in the day is no longer practical in the modern world. But the more I delved into the research and science of it, the more I was afraid of the effects it could have on my performance. Many times in class, as I recall, whenever it was presentation day and I had to stand in front of everyone, I would tremble with fear of embarrassment and failure, the fear of being judged by others. That would in turn make me doubt myself and my abilities even more. Even now, as I'm speaking, I fear that I will stutter or make a mistake in what I'll be saying next. But a very wise friend who had supported me throughout this journey to overcoming stage fright once told me, "Don't let the judgment of others determine your self-worth, because you are the only person who understands your true value." I still kept these very words when I came on stage today. Let me ask you a question. How many of you here experience fear when you speak? Fear of getting criticized, fear of giving a wrong opinion, or fear that you're not good enough? But I'm here to tell you that gratitude is what you need to overcome that fear. Because the very first battle you have to fight in your life is the battle with yourself. It's a constant battle in here. In fact, according to neuropsychologist Ethan Kross, we spend 1/3 to 1/2 of our waking hours not living in the present. So, what do we do during that time? We talk to ourselves. Sadly, many of us doesn't have positive self-talk. It's not to say that your inner voice is necessarily bad. In fact, it is what fundamentally makes humans more unique from other species, the ability to reflect within oneself. But if you don't learn to control your inner voice, it will take control over us. We end up ruminating, catastrophizing the possible events in our life, and end up getting stuck in a negative cycle with our own. Fortunately, there's a way to escape this constant chatter. Negative thoughts from the creation of our minds are the ones that forces us to become the subject and that we are responsible for everything. But if we take a small step back and look at the event, not from our perspective, but from a third-person party, then we start seeing the bigger picture. We start to understand more about ourselves, our values, and become grateful for who we are and how far we've come. Likewise, when I am able to show gratitude for myself, for my achievements, and look past my mistakes to seek improvements, I constantly find more opportunities to hone my public speaking skills. I believe that any skill can be learned with practice and endurance. And thanks to that, I am now much more confident speaking in a crowded room and have the chance to share this wonderful idea with you. My second story is about finding balance. What does it mean by finding balance? It means a journey to seek peace and harmony with your current life, possessions, and not being affected by external circumstances or conditions. It's the state of being proactive, relying on your own will and mental strength to get past dark times. Many times in my life, in your life, we all have lost our directions one way or another. For me, it happened during the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, where I made one of the biggest mistakes I ever made in my life. Studying in an IB world-renowned school, it is without a doubt that the workload in class is already unbearable, yet staying at home during lockdown made it even worse. Being prone to more distractions at home, I quickly went from playing video games 1 to 2 hours a day to 5 and 6 hours a day. I would hide away in a little corner by my bedside and become frustrated whenever my parents or little brother came in. Obviously, I had to pay the price. Not only did I waste my precious time, my health, both mentally and physically, started to deteriorate. It felt as if everything wanted my attention, and it felt like I had lost my own clarity of mind. But then, things started to change for the better. Starting small, I began to change my habits one by one. Eating healthier, sleeping earlier, eating more healthy food. But you might be wondering, how did I start my journey of self-improvement? Well, it started when I kept a gratitude journal. By recalling the things I was grateful for throughout my day, I harnessed an energy so strong that it forced me to change my habits forever. By doing this, I focused on the things that were truly important to me, as it gave me a strong motivation to take the actions needed to change my life, as I realized that all of life's difficulties can now be faced with dignity. Having gone through the experience, I learned valuable lessons to protect my mental health and well-being. I understood more about addictions and how it tricks our brain to experience that wonderful feeling of achieving something. It explains why 4% of Earth's population is currently addicted to playing video games. That translates to a whopping 60 million people who currently have gaming disorders. Thankfully, I recovered from the support of my family, and I appreciate them more than ever. It was gratitude that helped me escape my situation, and it was gratitude that would later help me find balance in my life. And I strongly trust that it could do the same for you too. My third story is about embracement. Life is a journey where you are the main character. There are times when you have to take small steps to reach your goal, and there are times when you have to take that leap of faith. There are things in life that simply exceed what we can control. We have to accept that and focus on the things we do have control over. It allows us to become awfully present and to live a life true to ourselves. There's a beautiful philosophy I once read that said, sometimes we get so caught up in trying to accomplish something big that we fail to notice the little things that give life its magic. And I believe that's very true. When I started to appreciate the little things in my life, teachers, friends, family, and the goodwill of strangers, my life became much more meaningful. There was a conversation I had once with a Grab driver who took me to school, and it happened to be a day when I missed the bus. Halfway through the journey, he stopped to grab a coffee beside the sidewalk. He then turned to me and said, "I've been driving for the whole day yesterday, and I can't stay awake anymore." I asked him about his family, and he told me how hard he has been working day and night to support them. He then said these words that made an impression on me up until this day. "You don't know how hard parents are working, son. Study hard, and one day you can provide for your family more than I did." This is the reality of many people who are struggling with poverty in the world nowadays. As a matter of fact, I see this every single day living in a developing country. The average daily income per household in Vietnam is estimated at only around $6. And that's not to mention the countless of people who are living in even less than $2 a day. Seeing their situation, I understood how lucky I was compared to many others. I still have a home, a place to go to when I'm scared, tired, or sick, and people I can depend upon. I am so grateful to have these values and sympathize for those who aren't as blessed as me. That is why I strive every day to become a better person, and to become a doctor one day and help those who are in need. Gratitude gave me a new sense of purpose. It changed my perspective of the world and ultimately helped me find passion in my life. You know, in school, people often admire how hardworking I am to always get on top of my assignments and even have the time to do extracurricular activities outside. But very few know my story, the story of a time where I used to struggle just as everyone did. But what they haven't realized is that everyone has a great potential locked inside of them, waiting for the right time to be released. But unless you learn to control your inner voice, you can never truly achieve what you set out in life. Gratitude is the first step of getting there, because only from true gratefulness does other great things stem from. I am here today to remind you that you only live life once. Time that has passed cannot be taken back. It is your choice on how you want to live your life, because life is C between B and D. Life is a choice between birth and death. Don't let the stress of this world drown your inner voice. Show gratitude to yourself, to others, and you receive back amazing things. Gratitude is the best gift you can grant to someone because, unlike any others, it cannot be seen nor heard. It could only be felt deep within our very hearts. Thank you so much.